get people in theaters to see. Are you giving me the finger? It's a
No.
lot easier.
Twee is so offensive.
Yeah,
So offensive. It's
Twee is
like
offensive.
Tumblr indie sleaze, not Zoe Deschanel twee. It's very different.
Kaya forced me to get a TikTok, so I'm
Yeah.
TikToking now.
Is it Lamely?
Lemley. Lemley. For anybody from LA. Anybody from LA just heard that and died a little
No,
inside. So, yeah, big brain.
yeah.
Big brain move. Welcome to the Solo Moviegoers Club. This is the only podcast for people who like to see movies alone. I'm Sean. This is Kaya. We like to see movies by ourselves, but we see the same movie in different theaters on the same day. Then we come to talk about it. I'm in Michigan. She's in California. This week, we both went to the theater and saw...
Bob Trevino likes it.
Yeah, and this was, I have to say, for some reasons, which we'll get to, maybe one of my favorite solo movie going experiences that we've had since we started doing this podcast.
Okay.
What did you think of the movie?
So, right off the bat, obviously, like one of my personal rules that I like to stick to is that I don't read necessarily what it's about. Sometimes it happens, like you see what a movie's about, like obviously, but I don't watch the trailer. So, going into this, I'm pretty sure on the podcast last week you said, "Oh, it's like a lighthearted comedy, like it's good." Like you said something about it being funny and
I
like
said it
along
was a
those lines.
tearjerker. I said it was a
You
tearjerker.
said that after though. On the podcast you said it was like funny and like lighthearted, whatever.
Okay.
So, I
uh,
had no idea what this was about.
Insert clip from last week's podcast where I talk about the movie. I don't think I see that. The audience is about to find out whether your memory is faulty or I'm a liar.
Oh,
Bob
I'm sick
Trevino
of horror.
likes it. Bob Trevino likes it. It's supposed to be great. I think it's a tearjerker.
I don't think so. Wait, I mean, you're
Back
talking about a
back to
lot of
today.
movies, but
Okay.
anyways, my solo movie going experience was uh, just it was okay. So, I they're showing it at very few theaters, so I had to go to I think it's pronounced, is it Lamely?
Lemley. Lemley. For anybody from LA just heard that and died a little
No,
inside.
because I think I have that in my head because every time I go there, I think like, oh my god, this theater is so lame. So like Lamely.
Wow. Lemley is like a
Anyways.
classic independent theater chain.
Yeah, so I hate going there. It's like my least favorite theater to go to, but that's the only place they're showing it nearby. Um, and so I go in there. It's like shed, very shed, which is a word we often use because my mom, like, she coined the term, and it's just like something that makes you feel homesick. Just like the smell of it. It's always like old people seeing the movies. Like, it's not a comfortable theater. But I get there, and yeah, I mean, I sobbed the entire movie, like fully. Like I literally have not done that in years. It was just awful. Awful.
Awful good. Like it's a good thing. The movie got to you if you were sobbing, right? You
No,
had like an emotional connection.
it was a good movie. I didn't realize I had it in me to cry that much anymore.
You had
It was a
something to get
lot.
out.
Mhm.
So what was your coffee situation?
I actually drank all of my coffee before because I went out. It was like a 1:30 showing. So I just didn't have anything. I raw dogged it.
Yeah, I did too,
Mhm.
actually. I went to a theater that I don't love going to also. I went to, and this is also like, I feel as supporters of the theatrical experience, I want to support theaters and what it's like in a theater, but I also feel like theaters need to be called out when they're not on top of their game. And I want you to insert some of the videos that I sent you from
Oh,
the
yeah.
theater that I was
I
at
was
because
planning on that.
it's crazy. I went to this giant AMC that has 30 screens. It has 3 concession stands.
It
Like
looks
each
like an
wing,
airport.
it absolutely looks like an airport. Each wing of this giant AMC has its own concession stand. Can you imagine that there was a time when they needed all of
Yeah.
that? Like they must have
Yeah,
needed that,
absolutely.
which is really I guess interesting as a historical relic, but also really disheartening that movies don't draw those kind like. Although I bet they did. I bet people came out for the Minecraft movie. I bet all three of those
Mhm.
concession stands were jumping. I bet they are occasionally. If they have the staff to support it, they might not. But when I was in there, it was like being in an airport at 4 a.m. It was empty. It
Yeah.
was eerie. It was really weird. I accidentally went to the wrong wing of the movie theater and had to run
Uh-huh.
all the way across to not miss the movie. And then
Mhm.
it was this, I don't think a single thing other than like the TVs on the walls that display the show times have been updated in this theater since 1997. This looks like the movie theaters that I went to when I was in high school. Like it's the colors, it's like purple and yellow. The seats are the old school kind of theater seats. Everything in it feels really, really old. The bathroom feels old. It wasn't gross. It was like totally clean. Like
Yeah.
the place is weirdly well maintained. Like everything's
Because no one
very clean.
goes.
I don't know, but it's also like kind of in the middle of nowhere, and it was weird for me because I never go to AMC's. I always go to like smaller. There's a really good theater chain right by us called Imagine that has like beautiful theaters.
That's
And
literally on the same level as AMC.
so what's interesting, so your AMC's are really good. So that's like
Yeah.
I did send Kai these videos of this theater and mentioned like I kind of thought this was what all AMC's are like, which bummed me out because I know that AMC's are really well known for playing independent movies. They're like it's a big theater chain, but you can get an independent movie in there, which is rare compared to some of the other larger theater chains. So I want to support AMC, but the AMC by me really needs to be updated. The last movie I saw there, hilarious. And this is the old theater seats that are like sit straight up, red velvet
But
chairs.
isn't there something that you like about that? Like that, I would so much rather go to a movie in that like scenario than like a less maintained like 2010 theater.
So I this is interesting. It's a spectrum, right? Because
Yeah.
yeah, I'm with you. If I went to a theater that had like the reclining seats, et cetera, but they were all ripped up, which I've been to, that's the
Yeah.
worst. But this also, it's a big multiplex. It's not like what's the not the Vista. What's the other Los Feliz theater? Los Feliz 4? That or the IFC Center in New York. You know the little Los Feliz theater, the one on Vermont.
Oh yeah, that they people just
That
call that. Yeah.
that one or the IFC Center in New York have the same thing.
Uh-huh.
They've got the old velvet seats, but they're like old school theaters. There's a charm to it. This is a big
Yeah.
place that was built next to a mall in the 90s or early 2000s that just hasn't been touched since. There's not a charm to it. It's just weird.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it was fine with the exception of the fact that this hasn't happened to me in forever. I could hear every word of the movie playing in the theater next to me to the point where it was distracting. At
Oh.
one point I could hear the song Seek and Destroy by Metallica. And now I want to know what movie currently out has Seek and Destroy by Metallica. I really want to know because I
Yeah.
want to see the
Yeah.
movie, which is kind of funny accidental advertising. But I the movie itself, I also raw dogged it. I didn't have a coffee because I had a coffee right before and I had to drive 20 minutes to this theater, which is crazy.
Yeah, same.
And I like the timing didn't work out. So I got a coffee right after, which is two times in a row for me. Next movie, I will time it around when I can have a coffee. But
Yeah.
the movie itself, here's where I say, despite my misgivings, oh, also, the theater itself, I actually smelled urine. No joke, like urine in the theater.
Ew.
In the theater, there were, for most of the movie, it was just two older gentlemen sitting in front of me.
Uh-huh.
And one of the best parts of the experience was when the Nicole Kidman AMC intro came up, which I don't see very
Uh-huh.
often. These dudes were just ripping it. Just ripping it.
Really?
Yeah, it was so funny to watch these like old moviegoers ripping into this. So anyway, then like maybe 10 minutes in, some other solo moviegoer came and sat a couple rows in front of them. I tried to interview him after the movie, but he split. He pieced out of there quick. But the movie itself, here's where I say, despite all these misgivings, this is one of my best experiences, is I had seen the trailer in the theater when we were there to see another movie, but didn't look up anything about the movie other than that. And man, this was a surprise. This is like what they call a discovery movie, where it is
Mhm.
like I don't know who could see this movie and not love it. And that's why it's
Yeah.
winning all these audience awards at festivals because it is well,
What
you should tell
where
us. You
did
should
it
tell us what
drop?
the movie is about. South by Southwest.
Okay.
Which is interesting, and we'll get to this later, but I Love My Dad premiered at South by Southwest, and there are a lot of parallels between this movie and that movie, despite being very tonally different. I think
Yeah.
what I Love My Dad was, which is a movie that I worked on about a guy who catfishes his son because his son cut him out of his life. It's a bad dad movie in the genre of bad dad movies,
It
and
yeah.
Bob Trevino is a
Yeah.
bad dad movie as well. but it's like maybe the best bad dad movie I've ever seen. It
It's
was
really
like
good.
it's so good.
That's so funny because I was kind of thinking I love my dad because like the phone thing, but I was also thinking the way way back that
Oh
has
yeah.
that like has a bad dad vibe too, and it felt like that movie to me.
I haven't thought of that movie in a long time. That's an
Yeah, that's
interesting
like
comp.
one of the last movies that really made me super emotional too. Like actually, like I cry a lot in movies, but this one,
I'm surprised Steve Carell being abrasive didn't turn you off to the way way back.
I know I can't believe that. He's just my fave.
So why don't you tell us what this movie was about? Give us your synopsis.
Okay, so basically, it's about this girl in a small town. I love whoever the cinematographer is, like, did such an amazing job. Like, it felt so small town. It was like the greatest thing ever. But anyways, this girl, um, she it starts off with her just like her day to day. She doesn't really have anyone. She has like a bad relationship with her dad where like he's obviously making her feel guilty for the fact that he had to raise her because her mom was like a drug addict and like she has to like pay for him and like just like he doesn't pay attention to her. He's a bad dad. And um one day they get into like a stupid argument and he cuts her off completely. And so she's like on Facebook and she's posting old photos and she decides that she wants to like tag her dad, who is Bob Trevino, but like he obviously blocked her. So she just finds a random profile with like no photo and the guy likes it. And it's this guy, Bob Trevino. And they start talking and they form like kind of a friendship. He also has like problems with his life, but he's like ultimately like a super positive, happy guy. He like loves his wife, whatever. And it's just about like their friendship. It's like so strange, but like so good. It works so well, and he almost becomes like sort of a father figure for her. So yeah,
And
that's
this is
all.
I'll drop a couple spoilers because I there's no way I'm going to make it through
No way.
this podcast without bringing these things up. So I'll just get it out of the way. We'll try to avoid this for the rest of the podcast, but mute yourself for the next 60 seconds if you don't want to hear spoilers. First big spoiler is that the other Bob Trevino, not her dad, but the character played by John Leguizamo, who she becomes friends with, he actually like he's very clear about the fact that he's not a father, but that's
Mhm.
because his kid died when he was 21 months old. So he
Yeah.
like wanted to be a father and then his child died. So he has this grief and that's caused tension with his wife. The second thing is, and I'm just going to drop this bomb right now in a way we've never done before. He dies at the
Mhm.
end of the movie. And
Yeah.
it was like if I'm sure if you're in a crowded theater, people would have gasped because
Yeah.
it was so unbelievably heart-wrenching. You're not expecting that to
Like
happen. You're expecting anything to happen but the fact but him even like
I kind of suspected something. So he had like a heart attack on like when he was at work. But like I was suspecting like this movie is already making me cry so much they're not going to kill him. It's just going to be like a bonding moment for the two of them. And like it was absolutely the worst thing ever.
it was the worst thing ever. I actually wrote how much I hated the movie in my notes at that time. I was like, I hate this movie. I'm done with this
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
It redeems itself. It has an emotional redemption, but it everything up until that. Okay, so we got the big things out of the way. Like that's ultimately this movie falls into, aside from being in the bad dad genre, I put this into one of my favorite categories of movie, which is the small moments of life genre.
Yeah.
Up
Yeah.
until the really big moments, this movie is all tiny little moments. It's
I
the two
love
of them.
movies like that.
They're the best. And I was thinking
Yeah.
a lot about while watching this about how when we think of our lives, you think of the big moments, the big victories, the big losses, the regrets that you have, whatever. But those really aren't your life. Those aren't even the highlights. You think of those as the highlights, but they're
Yeah.
really just the chapter headings. And these movies that are able to be about, it's not about a bank robbery, it's not about chasing a tornado, it's not about some big outlandish thing. It's about the little moments, like when someone remembers to pick you up on time, or when someone thinks of something you might like and they show that to you and they tell you why it matters to them in their life. It's like those little moments that are seemingly insignificant at the time truly are the fabric that make up what matters in our lives.
Yeah.
And it's so rare to see in a movie where everybody involved was on board with telling that like small life moments tale. It feels like everybody's
Mhm.
being look, as a dude who loves horror movies and likes making horror movies, you're always pushing to go extreme and more extreme and bigger and scarier and the thing we haven't seen before. And if you're going to rob a bank, you've got to rob a bank better than anybody's ever robbed a bank before. And this movie just captures real human moments. And that was so powerful. And I'm so kind of like
Mhm.
envious of the filmmakers who did this so deftly.
I don't know, there were moments where, like, what are those smash places called?
Rage Room?
Yes, so, like, she's a caretaker for a girl who's in a wheelchair. They're, like, the same age, so they're, like, friends. Um, and the girl who she works for is like, "Let's take out your anger, let's go to a rage room," and she can't do it. Like, she finally opens up to her about, like, her awful dad and everything, and she's unable to do it until after a big, like, realization happens when she talks to her real dad again for the first time, and she's able to go to the rage room and really, like, fully take out her anger, and, like, that's, like, one of those things that's, like, a really small moment, but it feels so big.
Yeah, and I think 90% of this movie was that. Like I
Yeah.
realized that it was 45 minutes in before I was really hooked immediately, but it was 45 minutes
Mhm.
in before it had its like big first emotional gut punch. And
Mhm.
it was all just those small moments until then, but those small moments built these characters up and made you care about them so much that then from 45 minutes until an hour and 42 minutes when it ends, you're just hooked. You're so
Yeah.
just like invested.
Yeah. I was definitely invested in the characters.
The old dudes in front of me were weeping. Just like
I
actual
was.
like ugly crying
Like,
in the
I was
movie.
ugly crying, sobbing. I have photos. I'll insert a video of me crying because, like, it was ridiculous. I could not stop crying even on my drive home.
Hi, if anyone was curious, I just spent 2 hours sobbing and Bob Trevino likes it. I didn't know what the movie was about. I went to watch this movie for my podcast. I can't.
Yeah, it was it made me too like I don't know if you had this experience, but it was a weird I had an odd combination of being completely in the movie but also reflecting on my own life. Okay,
Oh, I
I'll tell you
absolutely was.
let me tell you what happened. Okay, so I I'd been trying to schedule to see this movie so we could do this podcast, and I was supposed to go see it Wednesday. It's
Mhm.
now Friday. I was supposed to see it Wednesday. I saw it Thursday, and Wednesday it just didn't work out. So
Yeah.
then I was going to see it yesterday. Well, I didn't realize that. So those of you who listen regularly know there's two other kids in our family in addition to Kaya. There's the two younger kids, and um, my wife had been scheduled to take like food to our youngest kid, our youngest daughter's um, Girl Scout meeting at the time when I went to see the movie, and
Mhm.
then our son had to come home from school at that same time. So I'm in this movie. I'm sitting in the movie waiting for it to start, and Kai's mom, my wife, is texting me like, "Wait, you're not going to be home when Atlas gets home. Like he's going to come home alone because I'm going to be gone." And it was this whole thing. So I'm sitting there grappling with I'll somehow make this make sense. I'm grappling with I'm kind of leaving one kid alone so I can go see this movie so I can do something with another kid that we do to bond. And I'm seeing this movie about being a child and being a parent, but I'm in this like conflicted state right now of like letting one
Yeah.
kid down to do something with the other. And the movie did a really good job of I think we think life should be really, really simple. You do the right thing, right? It seems like it's this binary, like there's a right and there's a wrong, and I wish life was that way, and it just isn't. Like, yes, very
Yeah.
clearly in the movie, Lily is the main character. Well, really, it's a two-hander. It's really Lily and other Bob Trevino are the main characters, but I
Yeah.
would say
Yeah.
Lily's the main character. Lily's dad, the first Bob Trevino that we meet, is just garbage. But then I also started to wonder, like he's I think he's severely mentally ill, But at
Yeah.
like when he at one point he gives her a list of every dollar he's ever spent on her. There's like diapers and
Yeah.
stuff on it for like 75 cents. And I at that point I was like, is this guy have something wrong with him? But then I also started to wonder, I'm tangenting all over the place right now. I started to wonder, at what point are you just garbage, or you're mentally ill, or do we let people get away with being garbage because we say they have a problem? Like this, I don't know.
Yeah.
That dude was really conflicting. But anyway,
Yeah.
you talk. You talk.
I
I'm
also
rambling.
think there's a point that people make all the time where it's like if you have a bad experience or a traumatic experience with like a parent or something, it's like you have to think about it. It's like their first time living too. And like he was dealt a bad card with like a heroin addict wife, and like she left them, and then he had to raise a kid alone with like no money, not a secure job. So like you have to think about it that way. But also like he was just kind of a bad person, I think, especially because he didn't it's not like he was present in her life or like he really cared, and you could tell in all of the scenes he was just into himself and his life. And she like would buy him things when she was obviously struggling. She's a young girl, like it yeah, I don't know. I
He
think
was a
there's just two-way
malignant
street.
narcissist.
Yeah,
I thought that like the
definitely
contrast between the
narcissist.
definitely the you don't know what it's like to have a narcissistic parent, not at all. But
Yeah,
the
no.
the contrast between the two Bob Trevinos I thought was really interesting, because the
Yeah.
other Bob Trevino, the guy who ended up being her like surrogate father figure, John Leguizamo, who's amazing. I'll go on a John Leguizamo rant before this is over. But he was dealt a bad hand. His dad left him when he was young. He was raised by his
Mhm.
mom. They didn't have a lot. He had to figure out life on his own, and he
Yeah.
only looked at, like, he was a responsible person who looked at what he could do to improve his situation, whereas the other
Yeah.
Bob Trevino, Lily's dad, just blamed everybody for everything.
Yeah, my favorite part, like I can't, like I'm not trying to gas you up. I'm not going to gas you up. This is not me gassing you up, okay? He really, like, his character did remind me a lot of you in a lot of ways, just because of the fact that like he was super calm in like certain situations. He made Lily feel comfortable in the ways of like, okay, like you don't have to freak out, like it's not a big deal. This is what's going on, this is the solution, this is what's going to happen. Like very level-headed. And she had only been used to like a very hot-headed dad.
Yeah, he was really good. I think he was used to dealing. It was actually the like character growth he had to go through was to be less level-headed. he
Yeah.
like he was so committed to his work and to always putting his work before his own personal needs, that like two moments of
Yeah.
character growth you see are, one was really interesting. He was supposed to go on a like a I don't know, to hang out with Lily, and she canceled on and some dude was late to like an inspection. He was a home builder, and some dude was late to an
Yeah.
inspection, and he's like, sorry man, I can't stay and do the inspection. I have to go meet somebody. But then she cancels on him, and even when he realizes she's canceling to go see her like garbage real dad, but when he realizes she's canceling, he still doesn't stay for the guy because he's starting to like
Yeah.
be able to put his needs first, and then he
They like
ultimately quits
teach
his
each other
job.
something.
They teach each other a lot. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's man, these movies never get made anymore. I was thinking a lot about that. Like, think of movie. It's funny. I kept thinking of Jack Nicholson movies, but think of a movie like Five Easy Pieces, which is a classic movie, which was, a successful movie at the time. I feel like in the '70s, these were the movies that got made. It was like
Mhm.
dramas and dramedies about real life and small moments. And
Yeah.
why is it so refreshing and rare that one of these gets made now? They just don't exist.
Yeah, I don't know why I love them.
And I feel like, yeah, I feel it's in theaters. I saw last I looked at it, made like $500,000 or something. And Roadside Attractions, who distributed it, they also distributed a movie I made called In a World. They gravitate towards these movies. Like they do. They're like
Yeah.
one of the few distributors left that really does like real human stories. And I think it's hard for them. Like I think it's so much easier to sell. Even like we can use an example of a horror movie we love, but like it's a lot easier to get people in theaters to see. Are you giving me the finger? It's a
No.
lot easier. it's,
No.
it's Kaya was just itching her chin with her middle finger only. And I know she has cool nails. When did you get those done?
few weeks ago. Thanks.
Nice. And so yeah, it's so much easier to get people into a theater to see something like Companion that's like big and shocking than it is to see something that is like this. That's just a movie about the human spirit and
Yeah.
connection between people. And I wish that wasn't the case. Like I wish there was a way to that in an ideal world, the industry would do what it used to do, which is take some of its profits from a movie like Minecraft and put it into smaller movies that were about other things. Like we can't
Yeah.
just have big blockbuster movies, or I think movies will lose their allure. I think people need these human stories.
Yeah.
People want to see them. They're life affirming.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So
That's
what
why I
else?
want to go to South by Southwest really bad.
Why do you think that's where these
I
types
think
of
that's
movies?
it's better than Sundance. I mean, Sundance, we
Ooh.
know what happened. We know.
Yeah,
But
I think that was a fluke. I think this is just not a great year for Sundance.
okay. Whatever.
I also there's something I really want to see. I just told you that I really want to see that was at Sundance, but it wasn't on our list. We weren't able to see it. I think it was theater only.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But
I
yeah,
don't
South by is
remember.
good. I mean,
Yeah.
interestingly enough, so South by is where I Love My Dad premiered.
Yeah.
And that was like those these so this movie,
Do they
if
have
you
like a type?
I
That's
don't
where
know.
like I don't know. A lot of big movies have been coming from South by Southwest.
Yeah, South by Southwest is awesome. It so I Love My Dad is a movie, as we had mentioned, about a guy who his son cuts him out of his life, so he catfishes him to get back into his life. It's based on the real life story of the writer, director, main actor James Morosini.
It's
And
so
this
good.
did you notice at the end of this movie, this was based on the experience of this writer director?
No, it
This
didn't have
happened to
that.
her. So
No
there was a thing that
way.
popped up, it was a real Facebook message. So she actually, I don't remember what her name is because I didn't properly do my research, but the
That's crazy.
filmmaker, and I haven't looked into this at all because we're not supposed to. But what is her name? Tracy Lehman. Yeah, apparently, yes. Bob Trevino Likes It is inspired by a true story, specifically the unexpected friendship that writer-director Tracy Lehman found with a stranger while searching for her father online.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so that's where I say these movies are kind of similar. I Love My Dad and Bob Trevino Likes It because
It's
they're both
giving
movies.
like indie sleaze. That's how these movies feel.
Well, I
Like
mean, they definitely feel like that era,
that era is so good. Like I want it back. Like it's coming back.
these movies crushed it in that era. Like, dude, okay, what would happen that forever when I first started? Um, well, there was like a 5 year period where I was trying really hard to make movies and kind of failing miserably at it. And at the end of that 5 year period, when I actually started making movies, Little Miss Sunshine had just come out,
Mhm.
and it was like a joke. It was if you were making a horror movie, you would like if somebody said in their pitch deck, this is the next Blair Witch. You just knew not to take them seriously. Similarly, if someone was making like an indie dramedy, which was a very viable genre at the time, if they mentioned Little Miss Sunshine, you just had to walk away because it's like you're never
Yeah.
gonna make Little Miss Sunshine. But
Yeah.
I think if Little Miss Sunshine came out today, it would have a release like Bob Trevino Likes It. It would not be like the giant
Yeah. It's
wide release smash hit
crazy.
it was.
Yeah.
I'm just glad this even got to go to theaters. I was listening to a podcast today with Eli Roth, who Eli Roth's a really famous horror filmmaker. He made like the Hostel
Mhm.
movies and a bunch of other stuff, probably most well known for Hostel, and Cabin Fever. But he was saying how, and this made me think actually about Mr. Crockett a lot because he was saying how he doesn't think that a streaming horror villain can have the same cultural cachet and can like really stick with people the same way as a theatrical horror villain. So he's trying to make low
Yeah.
budget theatrical horror movies to try to have them really stick within culture. And I think similarly, a movie like this that gets released on streaming only just gets made and then disappears.
Yeah. I agree.
Like I think this movie, hopefully it continues to do well. I mean, I hope that's considered doing well. I don't know what it is. I don't know what Roadside Attractions is expecting to see from the performance of this movie, but I hope the reviews are good. I hope it performs well. I hope it makes people some money so that there are signals that more of this should be made. And then I also think my big soapbox for the day is the industry at large, even if it's not profitable, directly should support movies like this, because I think like the richness of the overall movie ecosystem needs like a diversity of storytelling.
Yeah. I feel like I don't know, we talked about it a little bit last year about the diversity of the movies in theaters, but right now it just feels very much like big budget, blockbuster, like those movies. I don't know. I just have always preferred movies like this one.
Yeah, right now nothing is in theaters except like big budget IP driven movies and horror.
Yeah, that's how it feels.
More of this, please.
Hmm.
Please, non-Hollywood. Hollywood should make these. Hollywood used to make these. It's like
Yeah.
they didn't just make Jaws.
Hmm.
And Jaws is great. It's like one of the best movies ever made, but they also made Five Easy Pieces. Why can't they still do that? Why can't there be movies that make you feel different things? Why does everything have to be like a big blockbuster experience? It can't just be these like, because small life moments seen on a big screen feel big. They impact you. They hit you in a
Yeah.
different way. And I guess you could argue that a lot of that storytelling is now on television, or not television, but like streaming. Like if you look at
Yeah.
Apple, like what's the show with Jason Segel and Harrison Ford that's on Apple where they're therapists?
Oh God,
That's a great show.
I've
And
totally forgot.
that, or like Ted Lasso. These are only
Yeah.
Apple series that I'm mentioning for some reason, but I feel like, or I guess everyone's freaking out about adolescence right now on Netflix.
Yeah.
Like a lot of that type of storytelling has moved on to streaming, and occasionally can like get into the zeitgeist via that, but that's all series. It's never movies.
Yeah. I feel like I've been really connecting to series lately. I've been trying to find a new one though to start watching.
I have recommendations for you.
But it's also like I I want to see new movies, but all the new movies that I want to see are like either at festivals or I'll just watch an old movie that I've never seen before. I feel like that's where I'm at.
There's 100 years of movie history for you to dig
I
through.
know. I know. Thank God.
More than that if you're looking at silent
Yeah.
films. So, if you had to be a character in this movie, who would you be?
The friend who she's taking care of.
Really?
Yeah.
It does seem like she has a pretty rich life.
She's chilling. I genuinely it would be rough to be all of the other characters.
But we don't actually know what physical ailment the friend has, or like what her life
But it
expectancy
seems
is.
a physical like ailment seems a little bit better than like the emotional trauma of the other characters.
She seems pretty content with her life. I will
Yeah.
say that. And the other thing that I really respected about the friend is, if more people were so upfront about their emotional needs, like I think that's why her life was so emotionally well balanced. Like when she felt like Lily wasn't giving her enough attention, she just said
Hmm.
it.
Yeah.
And like people never do that.
People never do that. It's so true.
You're not giving me enough attention.
I know.
Okay, I said it.
Clearly.
Yeah, I think I'm going Lily. Like even though so many horrible things happen to her, I still think where she is at the end of the movie versus where she is at the beginning. She's going to be a therapist now.
Yeah, that was great development in the plot. I thought it was good.
Hey, what do you think about the like? Okay, so Lily opens the movie going to a therapist for the first time and dumping
So
her story. Like she
yeah.
totally dumps everything that's happened to her, and the therapist just starts crying. It's the therapist's
Hmm.
first like week or something. She's
I
only seen a handful
feel
of people.
okay, this is crazy, but I feel like I've never been to therapy, but I feel like I know a lot of people who have told me that their therapist has cried during their sessions. Like that's like a real thing. That's
Really,
crazy.
I didn't know
Yeah.
that was a thing.
Yeah. Like
I
okay.
I feel, and then okay, then at the end of the movie, Lily goes to the therapist, says everything that's happened since. The therapist isn't crying because the therapist has done more sessions, also because Lily's had experienced growth. She
Yeah.
grabs a flyer on the way out of like how to become a therapist, and she's smiling ear to ear as she walks past some girl in the lobby who's just bawling.
Mm-hmm.
It's so
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah. There was comedic relief.
Yeah, there was a lot of levity. It wasn't just a 90 minutes of crying.
Yeah.
There was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And the character development between the two of them was a lot of fun to watch too.
Mm-hmm.
I have nothing bad to say about this movie. I liked everything about it. This is a 5-star movie for me.
Really?
Hmm.
Wow. Yeah, I thought it was great too. I rated it 3.5 stars, but
Why?
I don't know. It wasn't perfect for me.
What would you have changed?
I don't know. I feel like maybe him not dying, maybe some other character development, maybe like more with the wife. I don't know. I feel like movies like that where where I feel like I'm leaving wanting more, which is like that's a good thing, but definitely not like top movie.
So the real dude died.
Yeah, I
That
know.
was a
I saw that.
real thing that happened. So I had one question though. If Bob woke up in the hospital and was able to tell his wife that he liked the poem, why couldn't Bob call Lily? So
I
when
was
Bob's in the
thinking
hospital,
about that
Bob has
and
a
I
heart attack.
genuinely
Continue.
Go ahead.
I just
No,
want to give
explain.
context because we didn't say Bob
Yeah,
has a
okay.
heart
So
attack.
Bob, yeah, he had a heart attack. He was in the hospital. His wife obviously had his phone. She was a little bit weird about like the relationship at first, but like she accepted it. And she had been like seeing all the texts because Lily was concerned about Bob because he hasn't talked to her in like days. And she was like reading through the text and stuff. And Lily had sent Bob a poem that she wrote about him because she wanted to start writing. And she like shared all the text in the poem with Bob before he died. But I feel like she did that or he did that to protect her because I feel like it would be too hard for Lily to like hear that he was unwell and that he was sick. Like I think he just wanted that closure for her.
Oh, interesting. I didn't get that. I thought it was a plot hole. But no,
Oh.
that makes sense. That makes sense
No,
that
I
he
was
didn't.
literally thinking that the whole time. Like that must be why.
Yeah, okay. I like that explanation. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
So, yeah, big brain.
Yeah.
Big brain move.
Big brain.
This made me wonder, why do we care? Why do we get so sad about people who aren't real in movies?
I
Is
don't
it just like
know.
tapping into empathy?
Yeah, cuz I mean, I cried in books, like when I read a book. I don't know.
Books or movies, anything. Why do we care so much about fictional characters? Is it only because, like, have you ever heard the theory about why people cry at funerals?
I feel like it might be for selfish reasons because you see yourself in certain people or characters.
That's
That's how I feel personally.
the theory is the real reason people are crying at funerals is because they're thinking about their own death. Like when listening to a
Yeah,
eulogy, they're
okay.
thinking about the eulogy that's going to be performed when they die. This isn't like fact, by the way. This is a
It
psychological theory.
I think I fully believe that though.
So do you think it's the same in movies? Do you think that it's just like, as opposed to genuine empathy where you care about the character because they're fake, they're not real people,
Yeah.
do you think that this is you're thinking about, always thinking about elements of your own life, and that's why these stories are important, because we're learning from them and applying these lessons to our old life. It's like it's
I
sitting
think
around
for
a
sure
fire.
because also like you look for familiarity in characters and people, so maybe you relate that person to someone that you know or someone that you love and like yeah,
For the
fully I
record,
think
you
that.
saw me in the good Bob Trevino.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, that is. I'm
I can't
reiterating
gas you
because
up.
you said
But
it.
like there were so many parts where I'm like, oh, this is sad. It's funny because one could say that maybe you're a better dad to me based on what your story earlier about Atlas.
No. You just launched it like like decades of future sibling rivalry.
I know.
You're going to be paying for
I know.
that comment in 20 years at a
Uh,
Thanksgiving.
but I was thinking about it. There's one particular childhood memory that I have of you where we're in Pismo and you take me stargazing for the first time by the ocean. And that's like the trip where I realized, like, oh, I want to be a marine biologist. I want to work under the water, whatever, like, blah, 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 whatever. And that moment felt like their camping scene to me.
They did a camping scene where he was teaching her
That got
about
me.
astronomy.
That's where I really started sobbing. It was so good. It was so sad.
And it came full circle at the end.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah, I have. Oh man, so yeah, the astronomy thing hit me. Obviously, I like to teach you guys about that, but I have a real, genuine fear that because people are looking down at their phones so much that no one looks up at the stars anymore. And looking at the stars is a part of who we are. Like we've navigated the oceans. People could. How crazy is this? People sailed from Europe to North America and from like it's theorized and quite possible that people sailed from either Africa or South America to the Hawaiian Islands and vice versa, all circumnavigating the globe by looking at the stars.
Yeah.
And so these were these things that
Crazy.
meant so much to us that we saw that, and like the ancient people saw these constellations that we still recognize today as constellation that were
Think about the
passed down.
pyramids. They like line up with the stars too.
Yeah, like how important these things
That's
were
like where
to
all
us.
of our stories come from.
Yeah, so much of human culture comes from people gazing at the stars at night because that was the world that we lived in. And now everyone's just staring down at these stupid rectangles.
We are literally stardust. We're forgetting where we come from.
We are. It's sad. And I hope people are watching this on their cell phones while they're not looking at the stars. But I digress. So we should see what the world thinks about this movie. I haven't looked at anything.
Yeah.
Have you?
I think I looked on Letterboxd, maybe.
What do you want to do first? Do you want to do critics or Letterboxd?
Why are we still doing critics? Why? Why are we still doing Rotten Tomatoes?
I had a bit of we've been pretty hard on critics since we started doing this. Just because it
Can
seems
I become a
like
critic?
you could become a critic because it seems like Letterboxd is more relevant now than critics. But I read a thing the other day. It was two critics talking about movies, and they do have a really in-depth understanding. They've been studying movies and talking about movies professionally for, theoretically their whole lives. And I think that really good critics do have really interesting things to say that are probably beyond the hot takes that most Letterboxders throw out there. But I think there's value for both is what I'm saying. I do think there's value in the critics still, even if they don't have the cultural heft that they once did. Okay, so we've got certified fresh, 95% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Top critic, Film Week Los Angeles. Christy Lemire says, if you want a balm for these difficult times, Bob Trevino likes it, is it? Mick LaSalle from the San Francisco Chronicle. When one performance in a movie is exceptional, you can credit the actor. But when everyone is great, it has to have at least something to do with the director. That's the case with Bob Trevino Likes It, which has 3 standout performances. I would say 5 standout performances.
Yeah, I
think
agree.
Lily's awesome. Both Bob Trevinos are great. Like, couldn't be great. The friend who you mentioned, Lily's friend, who she works for, is really good. And Bob Trevino's wife is fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, everybody in the movie is great.
I thought that the whole time. The whole cast was great.
Really, really great. Kimberly Jones from the Austin Chronicle says, best to meet Bob Trevino on its own terms with open arms and an unjudgy heart. Let me try to find a bad critics review. They're hard to find because people liked it, but
I can't even really find a bad review on Letterboxd. I'm scrolling through.
It's a tough movie to hate. Oh, here we go. Okay. This is I don't know. I mean, I guess this guy is like a tomato approved critic, but Edward Douglas, who has a Substack called The Weekend Warrior, maybe that's just the way it's listed. All right. But it says here, the type of twee indie that is perfectly able to please festival audiences when they're in rooms filled with like-minded individuals. Once it's over, you wonder why you bothered wasting your time. Bro, Edward Douglas.
You could say that about any movie.
You could say it's always everything in life is a waste of time because you're going to die, okay? But
Twee
it's
indie.
how you spend your time finding meaning in those moments that matters. This is a movie about those moments that matter. Disagree with you, sir. I disagree with
No,
you. I was in a
I do
movie. I was in
too.
a theater with nobody, and
Yeah.
and and I wasn't in a festival audience with other like-minded people. I don't know what those old dudes in front of me were like. They could be hate
Yeah.
mongers for all I know. They love the movie. I love the movie.
Twee is so offensive.
Yeah,
So offensive. It's
Twee is
like
offensive.
Tumblr indie sleaze, not Zoe Deschanel twee. It's very different. There's two
So
different
offensive.
types.
Uh, Tumblr is coming back. By
It's
the way,
literally not. It's not in
Tumblr
the way you
is.
think it is. Like
I'm.
saying Tumblr, maybe. There's no way that the app is coming back. It's
The app
not.
is coming back. Its usership is going up. You know what else is coming back? Napster. Napster just sold for like over $100 million. Wait, was it Napster?
Why?
Yeah, I think it was Napster.
You should make a TikTok about it.
About Napster?
Yeah.
Kaya forced me to get a TikTok, so I'm
Yeah.
TikToking now. You all can find me there.
He's really
It's
funny
I'm
if
a
you guys want niche film stuff
I'm
and other funny
officially
stuff.
on social media. I've not had social media up until this point, and I now do.
It's
If you
funny
can't beat them,
because
join
like
them.
you're on it, but you're really not. It's like it's me. It's me.
It's you. I still haven't. I have the app now to record the videos, but I still haven't watched any of it other than what you've sent me yet. It's just
Yeah,
not a
I
thing.
it's good
I
now that I can send it to you. Send you stuff.
Yeah, and I can look, but I don't. It's just not a part of my day. Like it doesn't cross my mind to sit down and say what's on TikTok and then like scroll through the videos. Like the couple times I've done it after you sent me a video, it it really gives me anxiety if I'm being honest that I
Yeah.
can't stop it. Like I don't like
You
that when I
can't.
you can't. It's this is gonna sound so dumb to everybody who has TikTok, but for anybody who doesn't, the videos autoplay, and they don't just autoplay. When you try to get the video away by like flicking it, scrolling away, a new one starts autoplaying, and
Mhm.
it's a very overwhelming sensory experience that I do
Yep.
not enjoy. But I like
Yeah.
making the TikToks. It's really fun. What did you say my genre is? Old man yapping?
Dad talk yapping. It's
Dad
just
talk
dad
yapping. Okay.
yapping. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not because I'm definitely not old. Definitely not
No,
old.
not at all. No.
Okay. We have 3.7 on Letterboxd. 'Cause everything is between 3.2 and 3.7 on Letterboxd. This continues
Yeah.
to tell us that not a ton of people have
It
seen
should be
this movie.
maybe like 10-star rating now. I think it'd
10
be more
star?
fun. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
more
think there should be
nuanced.
10 stars.
I agree. Okay, so this is somebody who was at South by Southwest.
Okay.
And Kevflix and Chill, great name, says nearly the entire theater was in tears or trying to hold it together. And then the film's ending hits and even more people lose it. And then the dedication hits the screen, more tears. And then director Tracy Lehman came out for Q&A, so many more tears. It was an amazing experience sitting in a packed theater of all 200 or so sniffling and blubbering together. And oh, he's got a degrees of Kevin Bacon meter too. So French Stewart and John Lithgow from Third Rock to the Sun to John Lithgow and Kevin Bacon in Footloose. Do you know what the Kevin Bacon meter is?
Yeah.
Okay, it's just for anyone who doesn't know, it's how many degrees. There used to be this theory that everybody was 6 degrees of separation away from Kevin Bacon in the movie industry, and so there was at one point on IMDb an actual Kevin Bacon meter for how many degrees away somebody was from Kevin. Wait a second, was
They don't
French?
do that anymore?
They don't do that anymore. They're like a legit site. They're owned by Amazon. They can't have like an in joke about one dude. French Stewart was the other Bob Trevino, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I didn't even realize that. He disappeared into the movie. Didn't realize it was French Stewart. Wow. I had so much respect for whoever that actor was. I have even more knowing that it was French Stewart. That's incredible.
Yeah.
So let's see some other reviews. Bob, John Leguizamo version is good people. I like that. Oh, here's my John Leguizamo rant. This dude is always good. He came out with a bang in the mid 90s with Romeo and Juliet, the Baz Luhrmann one, The Pest, which is highly underrated. Love The Pest. And Spawn. He plays like the clown demon in Spawn. He was like one of my favorites in all three of those movies. And anytime I see him, I'm stoked. Actually, Mumsy and I saw him live once. We saw him he does like a spoken word stand-up kind of thing, and he was really funny there too.
Wow.
Is he on your radar very much or no?
No, not at all.
He should be. He's great. I am actively wanting to work with John Leguizamo.
Well, like, I was looking him up after because he looked super familiar, and then I realized, like, he's a voice. He does a lot of voice acting.
Ice Age. You went Ice Age, didn't you?
No, there was another one. I don't like Ice Age.
Oh, so this person says, this movie made me ugly cry in the theater. I'm also now planning to marry both John Leguizamo and Barbie Ferrara. Don't tell my husband.
Wow.
I've never seen her in anything before.
I was just going to say.
I watched 2 episodes of Euphoria, and then I was like, this is like a high school drama. Like this is like watching Degrassi shot on film. Why am I watching this? Even though everybody else my age apparently watches it, it just didn't feel like a show that was made for me or that I had any interest in. So I didn't continue watching. So my Barbie Ferrara knowledge is extremely limited.
I didn't even know. Like, I went into this so blind. I didn't even know she was in this, and I was really excited when I saw her because I've always wanted to see her acting because everyone's obsessed.
If this is any indication of her as an actor, I can see why, because she's very, very, very good at this.
Yeah, for sure.
This is an interesting review here from Lucinda. Lucinda says, in terms of Sundancey tearjerkers, I appreciate how restrained this is. I respect a film that doesn't default to the idea that a person's family of origin is inherently good. It lets the real dad be an irredeemable shithead with no arc, and that's refreshing. Ditto the animal shelter scene where a lesser theme would have the main character adopt a dog when her current situation really wouldn't be good for one. I was very moved by this scene and glad it didn't take the easy route. This person's thought a lot about that dog scene. Makes a solid case for being the kind of generous, uncomplicated, and enthusiastic person who smashes the like button on everything their friends post online. I mean, why hoard them when they're never going to run out?
Someone said fathers should be legally obliged to fund an annual trip to a rage room for their daughters.
Do you need a rage room? Do we need to talk after this?
I think it'd be really fun.
I've never been to one.
I haven't either.
Hey, you know that we're both wearing collars on this episode?
Wow, cool.
Yeah, we're dressed up. We're very fancy today.
I'm literally not.
You are. Collar is fancy. You might as well be at a golf club.
Oh my god. My favorite part of the movie was that they used YOLO.
Oh yeah,
golf
they did
club.
Use YOLO. Golf club. Polo club.
It's Brandy Melville's new aesthetic. Okay, I'm not putting it in there. I sneak into a lot of places. Like, also, okay, I'm cutting out what we just talked about. I sneak into a lot of places and I get away with it. And that's your fault because you taught me to act like you know what you're doing and that you're important and that you belong. And that's why I am the way that I am.
It's like flawless way to move through your life.
It's great. It's also like it does for me what it does for like when girls go through like a stealing phase when they're like in high school. It's like, how much can you get away with? I feel that way about sneaking into places. Like, I love so sneaking into
places. It's a victimless crime. Crime. It's a lot of fun, but also that will serve you throughout your whole life. If you always act like you belong where you are, then you never have that sort of
navigate the room.
Yeah, you never have that imposter syndrome that prevents so many people from reaching their potential. Because you belong everywhere.
That's true. Mm-hmm. You do.
Do you know why you belong everywhere?
No.
Because everyone poops. And everyone dies.
True.
All these like horrible things that like are filled with indignity. Same things happen to everybody. We're all the same. Level playing field. Level playing field. Everybody ends up in the dirt.
Yeah.
And with that, what are we seeing next week?
Good question. I'm definitely seeing I'm so excited to see the John and Yoko Ono movie.
Oh, why don't you see that and I'll see the
IMAX.
Pink Floyd IMAX?
No, because how are we going to talk about it together?
We'll compare notes on music docs.
We should see another movie though.
All right. Legend of Ochi looks really, really good. We've got Sinners. That doesn't come out until next Friday, though. I want to see something before then.
I
I
just
would.
saw, yeah.
I
I just
want to
saw
see
an ad for that.
Minecraft.
I can't.
I want to see Drop. Oh, I want to see Warfare. Warfare is from Alex Garland, the same director as Ex Machina, and what was the one where it was like a Revolutionary War in the U.S. Civil War. Civil War.
Wow. Yeah, I would see that.
Okay, so we're seeing Warfare.
I think so.
That's showing right now.
Oh my god, apparently this one seems like indie sleaze too. Hell of a Summer.
You've been
It's supposed to be
talking
good,
about that.
though.
My guess is that's the one that has the Metallica song in it because I
Oh,
know
yeah.
that's a Stranger Things kid, and like Stranger Things has a relationship with Metallica.
Yeah.
I'd see One Hell of a Summer.
I would see either. It's not doing well with reviews, but let's see Warfare and then maybe I'll see that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening. Thank you, Kaya, for sitting through a super weepy but also funny movie with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm stoked to see Warfare.
Did you cry?
I mean, my eyes were watery for sure. That's the first time I made a note at 45 minutes in that I was like, I was getting a little misty. I didn't weep. Which I would admit it. This isn't like some like I'm not.
I know.
I cry in movies like frequently. I was very emotional throughout the whole movie. Like from 45 minutes on, I was very emotional, but I never had like a straight up had to like reach for my jacket
Crazy.
to wipe tears.
I
Because
did. I definitely did.
was sustained. It was like a
Yeah.
sustained emotion.
Yeah, for sure.
I think, yeah. So I think also like as I had mentioned, I got caught up in my own like questioning my own fatherhood.
Bad dad.
Yeah.
Bad dad.
So, but you can be in the same moment you can be a good dad to one kid and a bad dad to another kid. That is
I don't
the
know.
complexity of life.
Poor Atlas.
Oh, come on.
He's going to watch these or listen to these back one day and be like, wow.
That one time. Oh.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's actually poor B because Mumsy came home, had Atlas come home by himself for a couple minutes, and then she came home because he didn't want to be alone for very long, and then she went back to the school. So everyone suffered because of you. So really, this is your fault.
It is.
Everyone else in the family suffered except you. I'm suffering the torment of wondering if I made the right decision. They're suffering because they didn't get the attention they thought they were going to get. You get all the attention, all the glory.
I always have.
Wow.
Maybe I am the favorite.
Like I said, you're the one that has to deal with this. You have to deal with the fallout of this at some Thanksgiving or Christmas dinner when you're like 35. It's going to come up out of nowhere, and they're going to be like, "I saw on that podcast that you got preferential treatment."
It's so true. Yeah.
All right. I chaperoned a field trip yesterday. I'm refereeing a soccer game this weekend. I'm good. Everybody's getting the equal amount of attention / lack of attention. I don't know what that would be called. There's a word for it.
Just hopefully that gives you some comfort.
I'm just worried about myself here.
Yeah. It's your first time living.
Oh, that's such a great excuse for just being terrible.
I know. It really is. But I use it a lot if I just need to feel better.
Okay, I'm going to run with that.
Yeah, if someone's mean.
All right.
Whatever.
Peace.
Swag money YOLO.
Music.
Ew, 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 ew.